Well, it's a pleasure to be here in Lithuania, in Vilnius. For me, it's the first time that I'm in this country, and I'm very happy that I got invited by Vilma and Gytis to have the possibility to show an exhibition with my most recent project that it's called The Cutouts, that you can see here. And the cutouts, it's a project that I've been developing for the last few years, to be exact 3 years. And it was following my interest in collage, which I had done in my previous work. And because I believe collage is a completely different way than just the act of taking a photograph. I was intrigued what happens when you add various elements and materials and you bring them together, and it's such a different way of working. It's much more analog, and so I wanted to continue in that direction. And during that time when I was working in collage, I was cutting literally everything that I could find. I even started cutting my own photographs, which years before I would have never dared to do. But so I was cutting my own photographs, and I was also cutting various papers, materials, especially papers, because I'm fascinated by that kind of material. There are so many different papers and so many different structures. And I simply wanted to experiment, and I wanted to put the paper cutouts on a colored background, and I simply wanted to photograph them in the very strong sunlight. And it took me some time to arrange my camera, and by the time I was ready, I saw that the paper that I had placed on the colored background was kind of, how can I say, it was almost like a performance. It was moving, the different paper cutouts, because it was also very delicate kind of paper. Because of the heat of the sun, they were rising and deforming, and it was like a sort of performance, like these paper sculptures. And at the beginning I was quite annoyed, because I had envisioned something different that I wanted to do. But then I noticed that it's quite interesting what happens, because all of a sudden you also had that play, that interplay with the sun, with the light and the shadow. I mean, the shadows here are really strong, because it was, all these works were shot at different times, in different periods, but always in a very situation where the sun was very hot. And I thought, this is actually quite interesting, and I was so mesmerized by what was going on with the interaction of the different shapes of the paper, and also how the colors were in a dialogue and reacting together, because another element that is very important in my work is color. And with this work, it was just, how can I say, I was more or less in paradise for 3 years, because I was really dealing with color apart from the different shapes and the different forms. But it really allowed me to have an understanding of the various colors, the various relationships, how colors react or don't react together. And what I really like is, for me, I mean, I guess everybody has their own color palette, and everybody has their own reaction to color. And for me, color is also, or colors are, they are emotions, and they have their own poetry. And it was very interesting to see in the different places where I've had the possibility to show the cutouts, how the individuals, how the the people have been reacting to them, not only to the color, the various colors in the cutouts, but also the shapes. And it's, yeah, it's interesting to see what everybody sees or how people feel and what kind of reaction you can get. And in a way, I want to say these works are very concrete because I photographed the various papers, and it's so very much what you see is what it is. They're photographs. But in a way, they also, what I think is interesting is they have this abstraction, even though it's very concrete, but these works also have that very abstract allure. And for me, abstraction is also another element that more and more in the last few years I'm moving towards, because I find it fascinating what abstraction does, and I feel it gives you a space, a certain room to have your own imagination and to have your own feelings and sensations, and that's, yeah, what I like very much about abstraction. And yes, that's what it is, the cutouts.